The Buffalo Bills versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is everything you need to know about preseason week number 2 in 2024. So, the Bills will come into town at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh and play the Pittsburgh Steelers at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And this game is a preview of the Pittsburgh Steelers starters. Expect the starters to play in this game. Mike Tomlin, not like last week, he didn't rule out any of the players, other than obviously if an injury magically appears or if people are still dealing with one of their banged up injuries, just say for example Roman Wilson, then they won't play. But he didn't kind of rule anyone out beforehand like he did last week with Russell Wilson, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, and so on. So expect to see Russell Wilson and all those guys in action for the first time this new season. And this will be the first time we get a look at Russell Wilson as a Pittsburgh Steeler. First time seeing him with the first team offense against the first team defense of the Buffalo Bills in a live action football. Yes, we got to see him in training camp. He was limited for most of it, but now we get to see him in game. Let's see if he could bounce back from last season in which it really didn't go his way and then he was ended up being cut from the Denver Broncos. Let's see if he could revive his career in Pittsburgh. It's only preseason week number 2, but let's see what Russell Wilson could do as a Steeler. Something else we're obviously going to get to see as well is Justin Fields working with the second team. When will he come in the game? How much time will Russell Wilson play? Will Russell Wilson get the full stint as a starter with the number ones? Is he going to play 3 series, 4 series, and then Justin Fields play with the 2s? Or is it going to be like Russell Wilson plays a drive, Justin Fields plays a drive, Russell Wilson again? But we're going to wait and see. More than likely, it'll just be Russell Wilson for however long until he gets pulled out the game, and then Justin Fields with the number 2s. That's more than likely how it will go, but obviously we're going to wait and see what Mike Tomlin decides with that situation. Something else we're going to be able to see is new players. For example, Patrick Queen. He was held out of last game because of an injury. So now we're going to get to see the new player, the big free agency pickup, the biggest signing in Steelers free agency history. Signing this player to a long-term contract for huge money, the biggest contract they've given out. We're going to see Patrick Queen in live action football, see what he could do and how he could impact this team on defense. Also, we're going to get to see as well maybe Corey Trice as a starter, running with the ones, because he did run with the ones for the last week of practice because Dante Jackson has been dealing with an injury. So if Dante Jackson is out, we only saw Corey Trice for really the 4th quarter of last week's game against the Houston Texans. So maybe now we get to see those avatar cornerbacks that Mike Tomlin called a year ago in Corey Trice and Joey Porter Jr. We get to see maybe those two as the starters and see what they're capable of. Also, it's going to be interesting because just yesterday, Nate Herbig was held out of practice with an injury. So if he isn't able to play, maybe this gives the opportunity of Zach Frazier to earn the starting center job, because really, if Nate Herbig is healthy, expect him to be the starter. For whatever reason, he would be the starter. He was the starter last week, and it just seems that's the Pittsburgh Steelers way, not playing rookies and stuff like that, not starting the rookies until later on in the season after like 4 games when they decide that the other guy's not as good. But usually to start the season, sure, it's a veteran that earns a spot. But if Nate Herbig isn't going to play, maybe this earns the weight of Zach Frazier actually winning this job. So, Zach Frazier, will he run with the 1s? Will he run with the 2s? Is Nate Herbig going to play? Obviously, we've seen the exchange snaps that led to fumbles last week. It was like 2 fumbles. They were recovered, but still some bad snaps. So hopefully, Zach Frazier is able to clean that up and not have that happen, just like Nate Herbig had to happen when he was under center. So let's see what the Steelers do with the center position. Also, another thing is these wide receivers, because the big topic this offseason has been Brandon Aiyuk, has been how the Steelers need another wide receiver. Well, last week it looked pretty fine in the preseason. Van Jefferson looked like he could make some plays. Calvin Austin made some plays with the second team. And obviously we know what George Pickens could do. So another week of these wide receivers showing out and seeing what they could do is going to be a good sign for the Steelers team. And that's something to keep an eye on as well, especially with the starters maybe Russell Wilson being the starter, seeing the actual connection instead of it being with Justin Fields, who maybe will not play the season, and thus maybe Russell Wilson gets benched or injured or something like that. But seeing the connection with Russell Wilson to these wide receivers will be interesting to see how it develops in the Arthur Smith offense. So the wide receivers as well, Roman Wilson more likely will be out. He could reportedly play in the final preseason game, but more likely he will be back for week number 1. So it's either the last preseason game or week number 1. That's when we'll see Roman Wilson, the rookie wide receiver. So he will not be playing in this week's game. Before I move over to more of the defense side of the ball and also talking about the Buffalo Bills, let me just go through some players who may not play in this game. Like I already mentioned, Roman Wilson, he will not play. DeMarvin Leal has missed some time this week in practice and hasn't really practiced much. So when you really look at it from that perspective, he may not play. He was a big winner of week 1 of preseason, trying to earn a spot on this team and earn some actual playing time, but he more than likely will not be playing. Dante Jackson is a question mark as well with an injury. He hasn't practiced this week in practice. Corey Trice, like I said, has been taking number 1 snaps, so more than likely he will not be playing. There's also Nate Herbig. Mike Tomlin said his injury is more of a training camp injury, and he has a chance to play against the Bills on Saturday. So let's see what happens there. But those are more of the injury updates for you talking about this team. Now, moving over to the defense side of the ball, looking at the Steelers, you're going to see, like I said, Corey Trice Jr., Joey Porter Jr., the Avatar cornerbacks. You're going to see inside linebacker Patrick Queen, how he works next to Elandon Roberts. You're going to see TJ Watt for the first time. How is he going to do? I don't really know if Alex Highsmith is going to play. I believe he was dealing with like a groin injury or something like that. So that's another injury maybe update there. Will he play? Maybe not. So we get to see Nate Herbig, maybe Alex Highsmith. We get to see Cameron Hayward for the first time in 35 years old season. We get to see what he's capable of. We also get to see Larry Ogunjobi. We get to see all these other guys play as well for the first time. Minkah Fitzpatrick next to Deshaun Elliott. We get to see how that works out. That's supposed to be a nice pairing there. That's why the Steelers brought in Elliott to kind of free up a Minkah Fitzpatrick. So let's see how that works out. Will that allow Minkah Fitzpatrick to play more freely and kind of roam the secondary instead of making him have to play up? We also get to see a 3-package set with also DeMonte Casey. That was a big talk about the safety sets last season with DeMonte Casey and Keanu Neal coming over. So hopefully now we get to see that with Deshaun Elliott instead, and a 3-package set at safety. So those are some things to look out for on the defensive side of the ball in this week's preseason game with the starters actually playing. Also, looking at the Buffalo Bills in this game, more than likely they will be playing their starters as well. I don't really know too much about their training camp and everything that's going on with them, but obviously they're missing Stephon Diggs because he got traded to the Houston Texans. So it's going to be interesting to see the wide receivers and to see what they're capable of without him. Obviously, Coleman, let's see what he's capable of. Is he going to be able to step up and be an impact rookie right away? They obviously have Josh Allen, who's dynamic throwing and running the football, so he could carry a team. James Cook is a really good running back and things like that. We also get to see the defense side of the ball and all the playmakers that they have on their team. It just seems as though whoever the Buffalo Bills put out there, their team is going to be solid either way. When you look at this game, it should be a good one. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Buffalo Bills, they just had a joint practice 2 days ago. Their last meeting was in the playoffs where the Pittsburgh Steelers got eliminated. So it's really going to be a good meeting between these two teams just to see where both teams are at in the preseason and what to expect with the regular season, and just seeing the starters play really for the first time for both sides. So this should be a good game, even though it's just preseason. The Steelers, the Bills in the week preseason number 2. Let's see what it has in store. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about this game and all the topics discussed. Also, who do you think will win, the Steelers or the Bills? Also, who are you most excited to see in this preseason game? Who do you think needs to step up and earn a spot in this game to earn a spot on this team? Who do you think needs to step up in that category? And who are you most excited to see, whether that be a new guy or coming back from an injury, or someone who just didn't play last preseason game that you're most excited to see for this upcoming season who will be playing in this game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, everything like that. I cover all things Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll continue to cover everything Pittsburgh Steelers. So, like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you guys all later. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.